Hey there, Doughboy here, and today on Hardcore Academy we have episode 4 of Horrible Horror with Alone in the Dark. No, not the 1982 movie which I have never seen. I'm talking about the 2005 Boll travesty that I wish I had never seen. Alone in the Dark was originally released as a video game for the PC. It was based around works by H.P. Lovecraft, and it spawned a whole series, and is recognized as one of the forefathers of survival horror games. Yes, Resident Evil fans, you can thank Alone in the Dark for paving the way. But this movie isn't based on this game, or its sequel, or its sequel's sequel, but instead, it is based on its sequel's sequel's sequel. Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare. The game takes place on Shadow Island off the coast of Massachusetts, where the hero, Edward Carnby, must put a stop to an ancient evil. Which leads to my first complaint about this movie. Not one single second of this movie takes place on or anywhere near Shadow Island. Instead, it takes place entirely in California. The movie starts by telling the story of the Abkhani Indians, who opened a portal to another world before vanishing off the face of the earth, along with a lot of other ridiculous backstory. 22 years ago, a mad doctor is experimenting on orphan children, and one of these orphans grows up to be Christian Slater. I mean our hero Edward Carnby, who is now a paranormal investigator that used to work for a secret government paranormal hunting agency called Bureau 713. He ends up in a cab versus cab car chase which leads into a ninja battle with a bald guy that is high on bath salts, because even after being shot several times, he just keeps on going like an evil Energizer Bunny. This is followed by more ridiculous fighting action before the mysterious Mr. Bath Salts is taken out by a harpoon. Then the movie jumps around where we are introduced to our heroine, Aline Cedric, who is played by Tara Reid, who is the assistant curator at a museum. Then the movie does more jumping around, and we discover that Mr. Bath Salts was after an ancient artifact that Edward had. Then there's even more jumping around in the movie. Boll can't tell a story for shit, and we see a creeper guy that looks like the offspring of the dude from The Big Lebowski, and the weirdo with the raincoat from The Last Action Hero. Creeper dude brings up a gold box from the bottom of the ocean and forcibly locks a bearded guy away before opening the box, which causes a bunch of random people to start acting weird, including our hero, before whatever was in the box massacres everyone on board the ship. Everyone besides the bearded guy that was locked away inside. Bearded guy comes out and finds another artifact that was hidden inside the box. Then we discover that everyone that was affected by the opening of this ancient golden box have something in common. They were all orphans in the same orphanage. So Edward brings the artifact he found to Tara Reid to research it, and she cold cocks him in the face because they obviously have a past together. Because they always do in this kind of movie. While the two are researching this artifact, the security guard at the museum gets killed by a shadow, scorpion, werewolf, dinosaur thing with predator cloaking powers that looks like it is a cheap ripoff of an H.R. Giger painting. Then shit goes down as our heroes are attacked by the shadow, scorpion, werewolf, dinosaur thing before a hit squad from 713 break in to take the thing down. The squad is run by Jack Frost from Blade, Steven Dorff. And the guy is a total asshat. After the beast is taken care of, Edward steals Jack Frost's ID card and sneaks into 713 to have a chat with a doctor inside. The doctor is working on good old Mr. Bath Salts, and we discover that he wasn't high on bath salts, but was being controlled by a parasite inside of him. And we also discover that Edward also has a parasite inside of him, but it was killed when he was electrocuted as a child. And we are also told that these shadow things are weak against certain rare metals like gold, and they can disrupt electricity. But don't worry, 713 has special magic bullets that can take these things out. And then we also find that the bearded guy survivor from the massacre on board the ship is the curator of the museum, and that he is searching for these ancient artifacts, and that he is working with 713. And then he shoots up Shadow Thing juice like a shadow addict, shaddict, before we see lots more of jumping back and forth between characters because, again, Boll can't tell a story for shit. And then we see Tara Reid letting herself into Christian Slater's house, where the two of them share a random sex scene. Just because there has to be a sex scene. Then it jumps to the curator of the museum going on a Shadow Thing roid rage and infecting the 713 doctor with a parasite. And then our heroes are randomly attacked by rage virus orphan zombies, along with more shadow, scorpion, werewolf, dinosaur things, before 713 bursts in again to fight them off, and cue flashy gunfight sequence in the dark that leaves lots of people dead. Then our heroes join up with 713, and the lot of them take off to an abandoned gold mine, where our heroes Jack Frost and some no-name cannon fodder peoples go into the mine to explore, while the rest of the 713 cannon fodder guys stay outside on guard. We discover that the mad museum curator is now in control of the shadow, scorpion, werewolf dinosaurs, and he sends them to kill off all of 713. In a big mass of gunfire and explosions. More action! More shootings! More explosions! Meanwhile, inside the mine, our heroes find a warning that says, "Once you make it down here alive, you're already dead." Which, I don't know about you, but to me sounds kind of redundant and stupid. The group of them fall down a hole where they are attacked by mini graboids from Tremors. And back outside, pretty much all but two of the 713 guys are killed. And you know, for being a top secret government agency with magic bullets whose job it is to fight this kind of shit, they can't hit the broadside of a barn at point blank range. And meanwhile, back inside the mine, they find a brick wall that is sealing off the path. And one of them says, "Something tells me we weren't the first ones down here." Really? Now what the fuck could have ever given you that brilliant idea?
That is not a dog.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
The remaining two 713 people up top are killed off, and it's like we're supposed to care about them, but they are no-name characters that no one gives a shit about, that are just there to simply be led to the slaughter. There is a pretty cool scene of a girl's head split in half, though. Back down in the mine, we discover a secret lab, and we find out that this is where the children from the orphanage were taken to be infected with parasites, and they were brought down there by 713 themselves. And the artifacts that they had found act as a key to open a hidden door, before the mad museum curator bursts in and holds them at gunpoint, before opening the door himself. Jack Frost kills him, and then the remaining three of them discover that behind the door is a massive cavern that is like one giant shadow, scorpion, werewolf, dinosaur nest. They set a bomb that they just so happen to bring along with them, and close the door to escape. But the detonator won't work, so at the last minute Jack Frost decides to be a hero and go back to detonate the bomb himself to prevent the evil from destroying humanity. Our heroes then pop out of a storm cellar as the bomb goes off, and they discover that all this shit was hidden beneath the orphanage that Edward had grown up in. They go inside and find the nun that raised him is dead, and sad music plays like we're supposed to be sad about a character that had a total of like 4 lines in the entire friggin' movie. Then the two of them go out into the city and find that the place is completely abandoned, because they had opened the door that the Abkhani had opened, and just like them, the entire city had vanished without a trace. Then we hear the growling of the shadow, scorpion, werewolf dinosaurs, as the camera zooms up behind our heroes who spin around to face their attackers. And the movie ends with a shitty-ass cliffhanger. This movie is shit. But what do you expect from Boll? This movie is so bad that it took $20 million to make, and only earned just over $10 million in the box office. It is so bad that in the 2008 edition of Gamers World Records, Guinness named it the worst movie based on a video game. Take in mind that this came out after the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Let that sink in. This has been Doughboy from Hardcore Academy, and peace out. I don't know why I fucking watch these fucking things. This movie is the worst one yet. In fact, it's probably one of the worst movies I've ever fucking seen.